Yep, I saw that coming. This is what I want to discourage. All right, let's try the back legs. Let me see if I can get her attention on me. I'm Zach George. I train dogs, and this is my new dog, Inertia. I'm taking you along as I train her from day one. You can start from the beginning or pick up anywhere and start learning. Welcome to the Dog Training Experience. Today's video is sponsored by PetFlow. Sign up for automatic pet food delivery and get $10 off your first 3 automatic shipments. Just choose your food, PetFlow has all of the brands, and tell them how often you want it delivered. I'll have a link and discount code in the description below. Today I'm going to use a clicker to condition Inertia to some very sensitive things like nail trimming and getting a bath. When your dog is in a really tired state, that's a great time to introduce things like nail trimming so they're less likely to resist and enjoy the process a bit more. When a puppy is 9 weeks old, it's not that difficult to get them tired because they sleep so much, but for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can burn a little bit of Inertia's energy off just to really optimize her for these training sessions. Okay, let's start with Inertia's first nail trim. Let's see where she is on being desensitized. I'm gonna touch her toe there, give her a treat. I just wanna make sure I can touch all these toes. Ooh, see right there, I'm not gonna click that because she got a little squirmy. Good, right there was nice and acceptable. Can I touch this toe? Yes. See, I'm not waiting for her to start to squirm. I'm just gonna touch it, wiggle it real quick there and see if I can get a click. So she ought to get the hint that when she's nice and still, she's gonna get rewarded here. Let's check those back feet. A little more sensitive on the back. Good. For this training session, I've opted to just use real meat here. I'm using turkey. Oh, she's pulling, so I'm gonna let go. She's getting playful. I'm still gonna go ahead and even click that because I like that she's in that relaxed frame of mind. Let's see if I can get her back in position. And there we go, good job. She's doing pretty well on having her paws touched and everything. So now let's go ahead and see where she is on having the nail clipper introduced. Oh boy, no, I don't want you to bite this. How about we just sniff it? Good. Let her get nice and familiar with it. What if I do that? There we go. Did you see how I got it under there a little bit? Right there. Move it around. Not cutting it yet. See that? Oh, that was a great reaction because she could feel the metal around her nails, presumably. I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not rush into cutting your dog's nails if at all possible. Get your dog very comfortable with entire training sessions dedicated to getting them used to the nail trimmers. So I'm going to go right here. I don't want to be too short. Let's go. Yes, good job. I have both my hands occupied. That's where that yes comes in handy. I'm just cutting a teeny tiny bit just to make the experience ultra positive. I'm not just going one after the other here. If she starts to get concerned, I'll stop. Ooh, that one's kind of long right there. Yes. All right, let's try the back legs. I'm gonna put her into a down. The back toes might be more sensitive. Hold on. I can do play dead. Even though she's being squirmy right now, it appears to be because she's pretty playful, and I think that's great. I love it when a dog is in a playful mindset. That's a really good association, as good as food if you ask me. And rather than try and cut her nails right this second, instead what I'm gonna do is while she's playful, I'm gonna desensitize over here by touching those toes still firmly. Good. Well, tempting. Yes. Yes. I'd say for her first nail trimming session with me, that was pretty good. By going slow and making sure that it's a stress-free experience for your dog, it's so worth it moving forward. Now, if your dog is already freaked out about things like this, you would still do the same thing, but you would just start over. Work on having them sniff it, click them, treat them, whatever you have to do to get them to equate getting their nails trimmed with something they really enjoy. Don't feel like you have to cut their nails in their first, second, or third training session. This is probably the 3rd time I've worked up to cutting her nails at this point. If she was a different kind of puppy and was less comfortable with it, I'd go even slower. If it took me weeks to work up to it, I would take that time. Let's introduce Inertia to the brush for the first time. I think you're seeing a pattern here. Yes, what is that? I mean, she doesn't know if this is a new toy or what. You can see she's really inquisitive about it. I want to let her know, I like that you're very inquisitive and welcoming of this new thing. So often when we do something like go to brush our dog, we just start brushing them without letting them check out the device. They're like, what is that thing? Gently introducing it to them can be a great way to start here. Yes. And so what I'm working towards here is being able to have her kind of ignore it as I touch her. Here we go. Good. My goal here is not to thoroughly brush her. My goal is to just introduce her to the brush because I've not used a brush with her before. See, it pulls on their hair a little bit there, so that's why we want to be really careful. It can be uncomfortable. Ooh, good job. I'm moving pretty quick here, but she's doing so well. And I'm not gonna necessarily go in a linear fashion here. I'm gonna go back to just tapping her with it, letting her know this thing can do all sorts of things. I can tell right now, if I just started brushing her, she'd be like all over the place. She's so playful. I'm barely touching her here and she thinks it's a toy. She's enthralled by it. She's like, more of that, that's so cool. So I'm actually gonna take a step back here. Since it's not a toy, I'll discourage play with it. There was a quick moment of restraint, so let me acknowledge that. It's worth stressing, I'm using a combination of clicking or saying yes in treating, just to let her know they're both synonymous. She's not stressed or anything here, but I'm not gonna click it because I don't want her biting on it necessarily. So the clickable behavior here is being tolerant right there. Yes, that's a clickable moment. Good job. Like how she's really kind of pressed up against me right here. Very trusting, part of building that bond. See, grooming practices like this can help you really build that bond between you and your dog, which is what all of your training should be based on, a very strong bond and trust. Yes, that was a good stroke. I don't know if you could hear it. And the play dead too. Because she's been working on this play dead. She's kind of figured out that that makes the clicker go off sometimes, but she can't quite remember how to do it all the time. Yes, she's brainstorming. So I'm kind of clicking both things here, her play dead and her tolerance. It's like 4 strokes with the brush. Boy, you look so much nicer when you're brushed. I should probably do this more often. In general, it's a good idea to brush your dog every day or two, keep all the dirt out of their coat. And now for one of the most delicate training exercises yet, bath time. So I'm gonna set Inertia into the bathtub here. She's never been in the bathtub. She has no affiliation of the fact that water is gonna come out there or anything. So my first objective is just to gently get her comfortable with the bathtub, sniffing around. Look at her, she's like, what is that? You want this? Oh, see how she's not taking treats? That's a sign that she's a little anxious and maybe I should just take a step back. Since she's looking pretty inquisitive right there, I'm gonna let her just smell everything and check it out. Remember, dogs really perceive the world with their nose. You can see her nose is going crazy right now, just trying to gather information. Yeah. Good job. So she's starting to take treats now. That's a good sign. Let me see if I can get her attention on me. Or if she's just too overstimulated. Inertia! Yes, good job. I'm just gonna try to let her get it out of her system here. Yeah, I saw that coming. This is what I wanna discourage right here. So there, I failed to preempt her, and that's what'll happen. Let me see, Inertia, good. She was thinking about jumping again, it looked like. I want to really see if I can get her to freeze this sit right here by upping my rate of reinforcement. Good job, you're doing great. And again, I'm giving her tiny pieces here, so it's not like I'm giving her a ton of food. Love the down, because that's an even more stable position in the bath. Let's bring her over here, because my next step is to introduce the water, but to do so extremely delicately. So before I even turn the faucet on, I wanna do a bit of a mini experiment right here. I'm gonna go ahead and see how she reacts to water in the tub, just by having a couple of drops fall down. Yes, she barely noticed it over there, and that's exactly what I'm looking for, letting her know, hey, water can happen in here. Do you see how meticulous we're being? I mean, this is, if you will go out of your way to be meticulous like this, you'll greatly increase the odds that your dog adjusts very well. It's when we just overwhelm our dog and just turn on the faucet and let the water run, just start pouring water over them, that we run into problems. Let's now go to the next step here. Remember, she has no idea that water comes out of here. And you can see that caught her interest. I'm gonna let her investigate this, the water that came out, and see how she's licking it. That doesn't look like she's too scared of it. She's adjusting well. She's still a little thrown off as she explores here. And I'm monitoring her here just to see how nervous she becomes. See how she started to walk back there? I wanted to cut off the anxiety immediately and take a step back on my training. She looked a little guarded. Good. There you go. You can see she's like looking a little more guarded. I'm just gonna do some general conditioning right now. She's sitting. There you go. Click her and treat her and let her know, hey, everything's cool. Okay. Inertia, what's this? What's this? You want this? She may be getting a bit nervous there, so we'll stop. Oops.
Hey, baby. Who's brave? Are you gonna
Yes! Good girl, get that. Look at her. In this case, the jumping up is actually preferred because she's investigating the source of the water, and I want her to be very comfortable with this faucet. Give her a big reward for that one. All right, so let's try this. Let me see if I can like kind of let her nibble on that turkey. I've got a little chunk right there. I'm gonna turn the stream on while she's nibbling it. Click. Yes. The fact that she's approaching it makes me very optimistic. I want to let her know looking at it, interacting with it is really gonna get her a treat. That was the best. Did you see that? Oh, this is good. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and continue to click her and treat her. I love that she investigated on her own. Yes, good girl. Maybe letting it run here for just a minute or two or 5 or 10 or 20. Just gonna desensitize her. You can see that I upped the stream there. She's a little thrown off. The fact that she's taking treats seems to me as though she's not overly stressed. So I'm just doing this conditioning here and letting her know water equals fun stuff. Getting a little warm there, so let's add a little bit of cold very slowly. Yes. Let's see if she'll go over there if I toss a treat. Yeah. Good job. Hey, will you go over here? What? Are you kidding me? This is wonderful, guys. The only point of this particular session is just to get her comfortable being in a bathtub with water running. But if she continues to be calm and accepting, we can keep going. Let's see something now. Yes! Good. Then pour it in front of her. Yes! Here you go. And so from her perspective, oh, it's another little faucet that popped up. What do you think of that? Okay, we'll stop. That's all right. Here you go. So right here, you can see the anxiety rising again. Let me see if I can get her back before I just turn off the water. I think we can overcome this, but if not, I'll turn it off. Good job. It's a fine line sometimes between backing off entirely or helping your dog work through it. If in doubt, take a significant break or even take a step back to your last exercise where your dog is less stressed. Let's try a Leakey Mat here. These Leakey Mats can be a great way to reduce your dog's anxiety during bath time. I'm gonna have a link below. They have these grooves, so when you smear peanut butter on them or something like that, it's a little more challenging for your dog to get. The magic moment here is when the water makes contact with her fur. Look at that. Yes, good girl. Gonna let that settle in for a moment. Let her get back to the peanut butter. This is great. You can see her acknowledging it, but that's okay. Yes, good girl. Very good. Oh, okay. She's quite the athlete. Yes. Yes, good girl. I'm gonna get down here with you. You're doing so great. Look at us, we're in here in the bathtub together. So I'm just gonna kind of rinse her off here. Yeah, good job. Let me have this washcloth. Let her smell the washcloth. She's behaving really well as I rinse her. Yes. Give her a treat for being so good. You like that, don't you? All right, so I got some shampoo. Ooh, hey. I love you. I love you so much. I sure do. Yes. Look at those. Get those paws nice and clean. Get the head nice and clean. Yes. I'm gonna pick up the Leakey Mat here, and we're gonna go back to turkey. Good girl, very good. You're being so great, yes. What is this? Can you smell? Yes. She likes, yes, what a good girl. See how slow we're going here. So the theme here is going slow motion to get them comfortable with all of this. Yeah, that was a good one. Good job, girl. I'm not in a hurry. If it takes me an hour to rinse her, that's cool. I want to go on her terms right now, which she's comfortable with, to avoid problems in the future. Almost done. One more, okay? Good girl. Yes. Very good. Okay, now it's time to dry her off. Similar thing here. I think she's gonna be okay with this, but I'll pick her up. She's pretty comfortable with being picked up. I'd call that a successful training session. In the next episode, we'll go to puppy class for the first time, expose Inertia to major fireworks, and focus on heavy socialization. If you want to keep up with her journey, subscribe and hit that bell notification. And if you want more training and spoilers to this series, follow us on Instagram. Get your grooming supplies and food from PetFlow. This is a good time to mention too that if you want a handy guide to virtually everything we cover in this series, pick up a copy of my books or download the audio version if you prefer. I'll have links to everything below. We'll see you guys next time.